Thank you for joining me for Reflections tonight, Hidden Well Farmers. I'm going to read out of the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11. We'll start at verse number 3. If the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if the tree fall toward the south or toward the north, in the place where the tree falleth, there shall it be. Now, I've heard that scripture quoted all my life incorrectly, and I've been one to have done that. As a tree falleth, so shall it lie. I think I've heard that so many times incorrectly. And I think that definitely sums up the verse in some ways. But the Bible actually says, if a tree fall toward the south or toward the north, in the place where the tree falleth, there shall it be. We were at the clinic one day and we'd had a roof leak. The air conditioner system drainage pipe had decided to plug up, and it had basically been dripping in the ceiling, and we've got that drop ceiling stuff, and so that old cardboard paper, it melted and it fell apart. We had to call the maintenance guy to come and this was happened in our cat room, and he had to change the pipe and fix all that stuff to stop it. But in the meantime, that one little ounce of meantime, this cat got away from my clinician, one of my clinic people, and jumped up on the cage and jumped up in the roof. Which is not only frustrating because now, I think we were supposed to groom it and do some other things to it. Well, now it's running around loose in the ceiling of the clinic. Do you think that thing's going to come down for us? No, it would not. So, in that situation, my wife Susan was so smart and just so patient, and she says, if we will just be patient, that cat will come down on its own. And sure enough, for about 3 days, every night, she would put food out. We fixed that hole so that it couldn't come back down in that hole, because we wanted it in a place where if it did come down, we could capture it and it wouldn't get back up in the hole again. So she had fixed up a place, and she said, just be patient and that cat will come back. We'll get it out of there. We can't climb up in there. We're just going to make a mess. And after about 3 days, we walk in one morning and the cat is now out of the ceiling, and we were able to gather it up. It had eaten all that food and was doing really well, and we groomed it and we sent it home. And the owner, I don't think she held a grudge for very long because she's still a client of mine. But as we read this, you're going to run into things in life all the time. Me, I run into it all the time. And you can't change the situation. I couldn't change the fact that the cat had gotten into the ceiling. I couldn't change the fact that it had gotten away. I couldn't change the fact that it wasn't going to come down with us calling it, and I couldn't change the fact that the owner couldn't get it down. There are just times in life where you can't change the situation, but you can adapt, and you can improvise, as Dirty Harry would say, and you can look at things from a different perspective, and oftentimes it will lead you to the outcome that you were looking for without all the stress, without all of the confusion, without putting yourself through a lot of things. There's just been so many things. I couldn't change the fact that I come out of the house one morning and my dog had eaten a hole in the side of my tire on my truck, and I had a flat tire. I couldn't change that fact. But what I could change is the tire. So even though I was very frustrated and I was very irritated, I just took a deep breath and I took advantage of the situation to fix the tire. And I will tell you this, that sometimes if we'll let the Lord lead, we will find out that there was a reason for it. That morning I had the flat tire. As I went down to work, there was a wreck that had happened about 30 minutes, and it was a bad wreck. And I truly feel in my heart that if I had left on time that morning, I would have been involved in that massive accident. That flat tire, though inconvenient, something I couldn't change, something I couldn't fix immediately until I got that spare on there. You know, when we look at it, we understand that God's hand was in it. So today, I'm just telling you that maybe you feel trapped by something. Maybe there's something going on in your life, you just can't seem to change it. Well, maybe it's time to think about it differently. Remember the lady that was caught in the act of adultery? The Jews had caught her in the act and brought her to Jesus, and they kind of figured if he says kill her, then that's going to be against Caesar's law, and if he says let her go, then that's going to be against God's law, and they figured they'd had him caught right there at that time. But Jesus just got down. He couldn't change the situation, which I say that he's God, he could have changed anything, but he couldn't change the situation with the questions that were being asked and the situation that they'd put him in. So what did he do? He thought differently. He got down with his finger, he wrote in the sand and just said, "Those without sin, cast the first stone." He adapted to the situation, and that changed everything. So today, maybe you're facing something and it's time to stop being frustrated, angry, and blaming everything else. Maybe it's time to look at it differently. Reflections from Hidden Well Farms. God bless you. Thank you for joining me this Friday. We'll see you next Friday.